Premiership Rugby round number 5. We're a bit crazy. You've got a couple of big old hidings. You've got a draw and some kind of genuinely very close games. I watched Sharks against Quins. I watched Wasps and Exeter, and I watched Bath against Saracens. Other games, I've seen the highlights and seen the stats. So yeah, we'll go through some of the key events, the standings, the upcoming fixtures, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how the games went. The first one, Sale, who kind of been a wee bit out of form going into this one against the ever impressive kind of hot step and magic moves Quins side. Well, they ended up getting that job done at home, 28 points to 22. There were kind of handbags early in this one, bit of feeling. I guess the Sale boys are under a bit of pressure at home. I got to say that the crowd was amazing, very very vocal. People, I don't know the ins and outs of the Premiership, so people tell me that the crowd is not always the best up in Manchester. But, man, these guys were very, very vocal, really getting them behind their guys. So, ref gave them a bit of a wee lecture to kind of chill out. And, Harlequins were having to defend for large periods at the start of the game, man, because Sale really came out of the blocks firing. And eventually they had to crack them. Like, Quirk got the first try in 14 minutes. That was coming. Like, that was just virtually inevitable. But that being said, it was a kind of battle of the halfbacks. Scrum halves with Danny Kerr hitting back only like 4 minutes later. Quick tap. He just seems to have better reaction times than everybody else. That's nothing new. He tapped it and scored it from a decent range for a tap, but nobody really reacted quick enough to stop him. So, quick think and play, 7 points apiece. Sale opted for 3, and then when Harlequins had a penalty, they opted for mauls, but weren't able to kind of break it down, so it was still pretty tight. Ross got a yellow card for a high tackle on Tyrone Green, and then Green kind of made them pay with a bit of magic. Like, he's just such a good player. I've been watching him since he was in Super Rugby at the Lions. He's always kind of had that ability to step in and out of tackles, and he's stronger than he looks for a guy who's not kind of that huge. His try was awesome, but then Sale got one as well through Ross from a maul. So yeah, good momentum shifter, I thought, in Sale's favour to make it 17-14 at half time. But whatever they said in the sheds, when you go into, because you've just taken the lead right before half time, whatever they said in the sheds was their game plan for the second half was immediately thrown out the window because Sale failed to take the restart, and Northmore just punishes it. Start of the second half. It's literally failing to catch a kickoff on the other side, just grabbing it and going straight over the try line. It is one of the softest tries you'll ever see. So, like I said, the game plan has just gone out the window there, hasn't it? So, and then the second half's a bit weird. It's a bit of a battle of missed penalties. Both kickers, especially Wilkinson, missed a fair few. And, Curtis did eventually get one on 75 minutes after Wilkinson had missed. And then Quirk's snipe try at the death really sealed it for Sale. So, it was an interesting game. Like I said, a bit of feeling about it. I mean, Sale probably should have won it maybe a bit more comfortably if they kicked their goals. Don't know, like possessions 58-42, territory 66-34, defenders beaten 23-14, clean breaks of 4 apiece, but most of the stats are in Sale's favour, man. Penalties conceded 18-9 with Quins having 18. Yeah, Sale probably should have been able to put them away, but still, they'd been on a bit of a, do you want to say bad run? Less than what kind of expectations were at, so it's a good win for them. At home, keep the home fans happy, get some momentum back, and keep on trucking. So Quirk finishes with 66 run meters, 2 tries, 14 runs. Like, the dude was very busy. Chisholm has 17 out of 20 tackles, but like I said, good win for Sale. They are 2-2 plus a draw, so they are 7th on the log, which is not where they want to be. Quins have suffered their first loss. Now they're 3-1. They are in second behind Leicester, who are still undefeated. Sale are home to Wasps next week, and Harlequins are home to Bath. So a good chance for both to get a game at home, I guess. For the next game, Wasps and Exeter. I'm loving to see Via Fafita getting a bit of a new lease on life, because I don't know what he did at the Hurricanes down here, but he wasn't getting bugger all game time. He was either on the bench or not even getting the game. But he's been starting for Wasps and he's been finding some good space. It's been very pleasing to see. He seems to be getting a new lease on life, like I say. So three points apiece early in that one. Josh Bassett for Wasps got a yellow card for a high tackle early. And I thought, man, Wasps are actually going to win this yellow card despite having a man down because they kicked a penalty during it. But right towards the end of it, man, Slade gets one. I can't remember if Cordero's one was with the yellow card still going. It may have been that he hadn't come back on yet. But yeah, Exeter with a quick fire double, man. They absolutely punish you. Those guys are brutal. And yeah, the momentum kind of shifts obviously in Exeter's favour. There was a weird moment where Robson got the call from Wayne Barnes that there was advantage. So he decided to tap it. But the ref said, that's fine, it's a kick to yourself, play on. But it's just a weird one. He hadn't called a penalty. He just called a advantage. So, yeah, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like, it's not that often you see something literally you've not ever seen. That was one of those moments. Wasps turning down threes, to be fair, in Exeter's red zone. And they were rewarded with a maul try like on the second attempt. So, yeah, good effort from them. And then just before halftime, they got another maul try. So it was a weird one. That it was the Exeter backs and the forwards from Wasps who were getting the tries in that first half. Anyway, Frost got a yellow card as well. So Exeter were attacking like close range, putting the pressure on. Bit of handbags. There was another bloody water carrier involved. Since the whole Rusty Erasmus thing, the water carriers are under absolute scrutiny, and the water carrier like kicked the ball. There's the Wasps water carrier kicked the ball away from the Exeter player trying to kind of play quickly. So there was a bit of a bust up there. Yeah, it was with the man down that there was another try for Exeter. This time it's Sam Simmons. So those guys are brutal, aren't they? He was looking like he was going to get a try, to be fair. He seemed pretty hungry. And then... Oh, but that was actually right as the yellow card was over, sorry. It was right as the yellow card was finished. It wasn't... Wasps did well to hold out, but not long enough. Hill got one in the corner, to be fair, at the end. Towards the end of like the last... Just before 10 minutes, so yeah, 68 minutes. And that was looking like game. But they did have a chance, Wasps. They got a breakdown penalty right before the clock was going in the red. They kicked it for touch to get into Exeter's territory, and then the line out wasn't straight. I know Wasps are kind of depleted in terms of their hookers, but yeah, it was a bit of a brutal one to be fair at the end. I mean, Exeter have more possession, 58%, more territory, 57%. Wasps make 217 tackles to Exeter's like 108, so it kind of tells the story of the game. But that being said, when Wasps were attacking, like Exeter's tackling stats are at 71%, and to put that into context, like even bad Super Rugby teams are usually 75. So yeah, 71's a wee bit poor. Exeter guys will have to look at that. Wasps were at 89, so that's almost like test match level, man. Tumunga Allen for Fita and Shields, the old Hurricanes boys were all tackled 20 plus Willis as well. Cordero and Simmons, though that's Sam, 70 and 80 run meters, or 80 and 70 run meters respectively. So yeah, clocking up some meters in a close win, but I think deserved, to be honest. I mean, 4 tries to 3. If maybe if not for the yellow cards, it's a different story, but that's kind of beside the point, I guess. Wasps are 2-2. They're in 9th. They're away to Saracens next week, which is looking like a pretty tough ask. And Exeter are home to London Irish. They are 3-2, so they are in 4th. So after a little bit of a rough start, they've kind of bounced back pretty well. Next, Worcester and Leicester. Bloody hell. What a hiding that was. What an absolute hiding. I mean, Worcester get a penalty. It's inauspicious, though, because they start the game by kicking the ball out on the full. That's not the way you want to start the game. This one, like I said, I only saw the highlights, but like Potter gets one, Moroni gets one, Montoya gets one. Like, half-time, what was the score? 22-3. Ford was running the show really well. Inside ball for for Moroni's one. Montoya from the Mall. Like, good to have the Argentinian boys back. Montoya, I rate him, man. He's world class, that guy. He is just a machine. And then, I mean, second half, Leicester, I think, do get a yellow card for defending large periods on their own line. But it doesn't matter. They go down the other end and score anyway. That one was Nandolo. He seemed to be having a field day. His power, he sets up 2 tries. Was it Wigglesworth's one and then Dolly's one? And then, I mean, Dolly's got, that's the first time I think I've seen him score a try which wasn't part of a maul. And then Nandolo got one of his own in the last 10. Plus Burns' little chip and regather was just salt in the wound. So I didn't see a heck of a lot in the highlights from Worcester, but I know they did have some periods of attack. I mean, Van Staden makes 20 out of 30 tackles for Leicester, so it shows they were doing something. The next best tackler in the game was 18, so he's doing something right. But the 2 big men, Nandolo and Van der Merwe, respectively for each side. Nandolo has 138 run meters, and Duhan has 47. Each has 4 defenders beaten, but Nandolo gets 4 clean breaks to 1. So, yeah, man, like I said, just having a wee bit of a field there, wasn't he? Run meters 653 to 435 to Leicester, but 435 is respectable in an effort where you only got 3 points. Don't know if they were just chasing the game. I mean, the key thing here, I guess, is, I mean, clean breaks 8 to 3, that's in Leicester's favour, obviously, but tackling percentage 92, Leicester 79, Worcester. Leicester had to make a lot more tackles, 187 to 111, but yeah. Pretty lopsided, that one. Worcester are now 1-4 in 11th. Leicester are 5 from 5, and they are easily in first. They are home to sail next week, the Tigers, and Worcester are away to Northampton, who have been on the bye. The other one, a bit of a different game, Newcastle and Bristol. Yeah, quite different from 48-3, and it's 13-5. Again, I only saw the highlights of this one. But I think the highlights start at 35 minutes, as if to say nothing much happened for the first half hour. Callum Chick powers over from close range before half time, so it's 7-0. That's pretty much all they showed of the first half. Conan gets yellow carded with a deliberate kind of knock on going for an intercept. So Bristol take a chance. Randall with a snipe. He's still electric, and a side which is really struggling. But yeah, he sets the try up for Leua, who almost gets smashed into touch by Radwan, but it might have been high anyway, but either way. Like, Bristol made that try kind of look difficult. Leua probably should have had a pretty easy run in, I don't know, but they had to check it, but he gave it. So, yeah, it was all really to play for, but then a couple of penalties for Newcastle. Randall, talking him up, though, gave away 10 metres when he talked back to the ref, which marched the Newcastle kicker a wee bit closer to kick the first penalty to make it 10-5. And then another one before full time makes it 13-5. So 8 points is enough. Good win for Newcastle, man. What's going on with Bristol? Bristol are struggling. They are absolutely struggling. Stats in this game, run meters 259 to 416. So Newcastle on the wrong end of the run meters, but they had more possession, 56%, more territory, 65%. So they seem to control the game. But then when Bristol gets the ball, they seem to clock up the run meters. That's maybe due in part to, like I said, 75%. Like, what's up with these teams tackling in the 70s? Premiership's usually 80s, maybe 90s. Several teams in the 70s this week. Newcastle 75%. Bristol were 85, but didn't have as much ball. Lloyd and Fricker had 4 defenders beaten. Randall 107 run meters, so that's some impressive stuff. Carreras, though, 7 defenders beaten. It's good to see him back. Again, another one of the Argentinian boys back. So, yeah, penalties conceded 11 to 17, so maybe Bristol's discipline costing them a wee bit. Yeah, Bristol are 1-4 in 12th spot, which is not where they were predicted to be. They are on the bye, so maybe that's a good chance for them to rest and recuperate and reorganise, because things have not been going well. But Bath also came off the bye, and look what happened to them. Newcastle are 3-2. They're in 6th. They're doing actually pretty good, aren't they? Happy days for the boys up north. The next one, I watched it. Bath and Saracens. Holy moly. I haven't seen a scoreline like that in a very long time. And one thing I'm liking about the Premiership, to be honest, is generally there's a pretty good bit of parity, right? Like a lot of the games are close. Like back when I watched Super Rugby, the Sunwolves would get beaten by a lot. There'd be some lopsided scorelines, but it's not been so much the case. Although this week we've got two really, really big losses. 71 points to 17 is crazy. And it's a weird game in that, like, if you were to read the stats, you'd have no idea this game was so lopsided. But yeah, sometimes the stats don't always tell the story, do they? I mean, Saracens get a penalty, 3-0. And the crowd looked pretty good. Nice weather, really good crowd at home for Bath. But then, like, Etoje got a try, a bit too easy, you'd have to say. Offloading, birds are going bonkers outside there. They know this was a big result. I think it was Billy V who kind of set that one up. And Bath would go down the other end, and you would see, like, Jonathan Joseph get a line break. But then they wouldn't score. And then they would go down the other end and they'd be under their sticks. And then, I don't know, Bath would have a chance, line out. The line out would be stolen. And then next minute, they're under their own sticks. Like, it's literally Etoje, 3 to Mellons, 2 to George, 1 to Earl, 1 to Maui, 1 to Shagan, and 1 to Morris. Like, how many times was it? I mean, they showed an interesting stat, I think it was about half-time, where it was points scored per entry to 22. Both sides had 4 entries to the 22. And Bath had picked up nothing. And Saracens had got 4 tries. It's just clinical, man. Any mistakes, like Albano knocked it on once, and then they had a try, Saracens. It was bonus point within half an hour. I don't know. Second half, I mean, Bath actually came out a bit firing. They got the first try. They won a breakdown penalty on their own line. They won a scrum penalty, thinking, is it going to be turned? No. As soon as they did that, they were back down their own end. Eventually, you get the hands on hips, and guys put in a bit less effort, and there's no try celebrations because it's just going through the motions. But yeah, I mean, they did score a couple of late ones. They got one through to Glanville, Ellis and Muir, but 2 in the last 10 once the game was well and truly dead and buried. But I mean, they could have changed the 4-try bonus point, but nothing else much to say, man. Like I said, stats, run meters 339 to 483, not that bad. Tackling percentage, both sides are kind of low, 81%, 80%. Knock-ons, Bath are a bit costly, 9 to 3. What's up with those birds? What I get for doing a video at 8:30 in the morning. But yeah, Watson, 7 defenders beaten. Like I'm saying, man, the Bath guys would create chances. Joseph and Watson, but Mellons gets 3 clean breaks, gets 3 tries. Earl gets 66 run meters a clean break. He gets a try. What can I say? It was crazy. Saracens, they are 3-1. They are in third. They are home to Wasps next week. Bath, none and 4. They are last, away to Harlequins. They need something to go their way, and this was not that game. The last one, London Irish and Gloucester. Man, I feel like London Irish should have won this one. I only saw the highlights, but man, how did they not win? They haven't picked up a win yet. They probably should have won. I mean, credit to Gloucester, but seems like, you let me know if I'm wrong, but it seems like London Irish should have won. Crevy's a bit of a try-scoring machine. He gets one. Like, they actually took a pretty decent lead, didn't they? It was like 14-0 or 14-3. Curtis Harris got one, so kind of 2 tries in the first 20 minutes for London Irish. I mean, Hastings' boot was kind of keeping in the game, 14-6 at half-time. Gloucester got a yellow card at the start of the second half. Atkinson a bit cynical on Rona. London Irish get the penalty, 17-6. But then London Irish, before Atkinson's yellow card is done, Murphy gets yellow carded. And when it's 14-14, Gloucester get a try to make it 17-11. And then before the yellow card's over, they get another one through the maul. So 20 points to 18. So very close. Then Reece Samet gets an intercept. So within this kind of period between like 48 and 59 minutes, it's like a 10-minute stretch. Reece Samet gets an intercept, and suddenly Gloucester are in the lead. So London Irish are somehow chasing the game. Hassel Collins sets up the equalising try That one was some steps. I think he stepped Reece Zammit in that one, to be fair. And Rogerson is the one who finishes it off, but they missed the conversion, and it's 25-25. So the intercept's costly. Paddy Jackson misses a drop goal. Yeah, man. Look at the stats. Possession, 59-41. Territory, 65-35. Run meters, 603 to 330. Defenders beaten 49-10. Like, oh my goodness. Clean break 7-2, and yet it's a draw. All those stats favourable in favour of London Irish, but that 10 minutes is brutal. Morgan gets 2. Close range. Loves doing it for Gloucester plus Hastings' boot. But I don't think he was 100% this week. Even he missed some. Hassel Collins, 131 run meters, 7 defenders beaten. Yeah, the London Irish back 3 were just generally pretty good, but so were the Gloucester back 3, May, Reece Zammit. So yeah, both those guys clocked up some run meters. So probably take that. I mean, maybe that's a match if Gloucester has higher ambitions, needs to be winning, with London Irish kind of seemingly struggling, but based on what I've seen, they should be taking the draw pretty happily. So London Irish are no wins, 3 losses, 2 draws in 10th. The results have been competitive, which is at least one bright side. Gloucester are 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw, so they are in 8th. London Irish are away to Exeter, which looks like a tough ask as well, and Gloucester are home to Newcastle, which could be a pretty good game. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, I saw 3 of them, saw some highlights, some proper blowouts, some close ones, a few lead changes, which is what you like, right? That's one thing I do find appealing about the Premiership from most of the games I've seen. You know, the lead chops and changes. You don't know who's going to win. So, yeah. But Bath against Saracens, bloody hell. That's one of the biggest hidings I've seen. And it was strange in that it wasn't seemingly all that one-sided. It was just clinical versus careless. I don't know. But anyway, you guys have any thoughts? Game of the week. Which ones are you looking forward to next week? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.